Hi, I'm Alex, and this is Reader Rambles, a weekly podcast where I ramble about bookish topics and help readers navigate life. Welcome to episode 5. I've made it a full month into the podcast, so just cheer for me. So happy. This is episode 5, and it is our first Patreon-picked episode. So at the end of the month, there's always a Patreon-picked topic. So they chose book adaptations for this one. And so I'm going to be talking about some of my favorites, some that I'm excited for, and just talk all about book adaptations. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about my week. I'm actually filming this and recording on Friday. So that's how my week's gone. If you're new to this podcast, every Wednesday I try and record, but I don't know, I just don't have motivation for anything. And I've just been playing The Sims. That's my new thing is, if you're a Sim player, you just have those spots where you don't want to play, and then there's a bulk of time where you're just constantly playing. So that has been my life lately, but it's just fun to de-stress. So currently I'm doing a legacy challenge. It's my first time ever doing that. I'm more of a builder. I don't really do a lot of gameplay, but I like to watch gameplay on YouTube, so that has kind of inspired me. It's also currently snowing outside, so that's fun. We haven't really gotten a lot of snow. I live in PA, so we used to get a lot, but we don't really get a lot of snow, or we haven't gotten as much snow as we used to. So this is our second snowstorm of the winter season, I guess. Our first snowstorm was the week I did 12 days of Vlogmas, and I got sick, so I couldn't even enjoy the snow. So that sucks, but hopefully this will be better. And I don't know, we're not really supposed to get a lot here. I think we're only getting 3 inches, which is still a lot, but there's the shore and stuff that's getting a lot more. I think they're getting a foot of snow. Anyway, let's talk about what I'm currently reading. I finished Icebreaker. I have a whole vlog coming out, and I have not been able to read anything after that because I've just been constantly thinking about the characters in the book, and I just want to reread it, but I also have other priorities. So I wanted to actually start on my buzzwordathon because I just realized I don't know. I think this is just going to be a weird year for reading, or maybe just a weird month. I've just been in a slump. And I think that's just because I don't have a goal, so I'm not I want to read a book. But it was also that I got in a slump. It was so funny in my reading vlog. I was editing it, and I say I've been in a slump, so I hope Icebreaker helps that. And then Icebreaker just put me into a slump because now I just want to reread it, and I don't want to read anything else. But for Buzzwordathon, I started Who's That Girl by Blair Thornborough, which I actually talked about in my first episode of this podcast. And I don't like it. I started it and I don't like the writing at all. I don't like it, and I'm only a page in. I just don't like it, and it sucks. I'm gonna keep reading it, but I just kind of feel like it might be a little cringy. The problem is that the first page introduces all the characters, and it just says their name, and then it says alias mom. But I just don't like that. I don't vibe with that. I just think it could be written a little bit differently. I don't really need to know that. It could just be that the character's like that. I don't know how old she is. I don't know if it says. Oh, she's 17. At 17, I had almost kissed 2 people. So this looks like it's a never been kissed kind of thing. Oh, wait, this is set in Philly. I did not even know that. Oh my God. I did not. Listen, the only thing I knew about this book was that it's about a GSA, and that's all I knew. It says, when Natalie McCall Shorts finds out that her crush, Sebastian Delacroix, a smoking hot musician who went to her high school, is back in Philly to play a show with his band, the Young Lungs, she takes it as a sign to make a contact again. Uh-oh. That is not what I thought this was about. And then the guy, oh my God, uh-oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this and maybe read some more of it. I think it's really just that I'm in a slump. Also, Nina LaCour blurbed this. It says, lively and smart, Blair Thornborough's debut will hook you like a pop song and then proceed to win your heart. Okay, so I actually really trust that she blurbed this because then it gives me a little bit more hope. Anyway, let's get into the episode. I have an outline this time. I just am all over the place today. This is Reader Rambles. I'm super rambly. I also haven't gotten any advice yet, so if you have a problem and you want my advice on it, it'll be anonymous. You can send it to readerramblespodcast@gmail.com. And the podcast is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. There's always a link down below if you want to listen to it. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I think on Spotify you can review, but if that's not a thing, then Apple Podcast, you can also review if you're enjoying this and you want more people to find it. Okay, so now let's talk about my favorite book adaptations and just go from there. So first, if you have been a fan of my YouTube channel for quite some time, you will probably know some of these, but this could also just be a refresher for you because there's a lot. I will also preface that I am not a big movie watcher, so I just occasionally watch movies. Like, honestly, the only movies that I can watch are Marvel. I just cannot sit through a whole movie unless I'm like confined to watch it, but I just always need to be multitasking, so I really struggle with watching movies. Also, let me remind you that if you become a patron, you will have access to our monthly watch parties in Discord. So if that's something you're interested in, you can also become a patron and have access to that. We have a private Discord where we all talk, and we also have a monthly watch party. In January, we watched Encanto, and then for February, we are going to pick again. So what I do is basically I do a call to action. Everybody gives me some suggestions, and then we have a vote. So whichever is the most voted is the one that we watch. And we watch them on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. For February, it's going to be February 12th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I really enjoy it. So that's a thing. So movies are just not something that I watch a lot. I don't even really watch TV a lot. I am just a very big consumer of YouTube. Like, I watch it all the time, and that's my TV. I also watch like baking competitions. Like, if you ask me what I watch, it's hockey, baking competitions, catfish, and YouTube. So going off of that, here are some of my favorite book to movie adaptations. I have to start off with To All the Boys That Loved Before. However, I have my complaints. I actually had a reading vlog before. I think I deleted it just because I delete a lot of the videos that are me pre-transition, and that is just for my own privacy. Because I don't want people taking those videos or anything like that, because I've had people do that in the past, and I just don't want that out there. So I did have a whole video with my thoughts on it before, and I really did enjoy the first film. I think it was really good, and I am just usually super critical of like it getting it right because these are my favorite books. I love To All the Boys That Loved Before. I have read it 5 times. It's just one of my favorite series, and I just feel like the films did not do it justice. I was so disappointed by the last one. Also, this is going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen any of these, I will provide chapters and timestamps down below if you just want to skip around, so they'll be in the show notes and also on YouTube. So, To All the Boys That Loved Before, I really love the first one. The second one, I also think is okay. I know that these movies don't really get a good rep, but because I love the book so much, I just love it. I really think the first movie really does it justice, but my favorite book of the series is the last one, and I feel like the movie sucked. I don't think they did it right at all. And I remember watching and I was like, oh my God, they screwed this up for me. I was watching with my mom and she has not read any of the books, but I was just so upset because of just minor details. If you have read the last book in the To All the Boys I Loved Before series, I hated the last film. I thought it was done so poorly and I was so pissed off because there was just some minor changes and it just made no sense to the book because her and Peter, they aren't too far from each other when they decide like where they're going to go to college, and I feel like the movie could have easily changed that, but because of Hollywood, for some reason they were like, oh, never mind, she's gonna go to NYU when she literally goes to the University of Virginia. She doesn't go to NYU, and I don't really think that Lara Jean would go there because she wants to be closer to her family. So it just wouldn't happen. It's not in her character. I felt like I just felt like I wasn't watching Lara Jean. However, I love the third book because of just all of the baking. We didn't even get to see Kitty's birthday. That is like, oh my God. Listen, the last book in that series is so good. I sobbed. Like, I ugly cried at that book so much. I just remember like crying so much. And my family was like, are you okay? Like, I was a mess. However, I did like the ending of the film with the wedding and all. I think that was really nice. I can't remember if the second movie, I don't even think that the second movie has that whole game aspect, and that would have been so cool. I need to rewatch this. I feel like I'm wrong on this, that it was it actually included? I can't remember. I do remember like the Genevieve stuff being like a big part of the film, but I don't remember if that like whole game scene is in it. I can't remember. I know they were in the treasure house. No, they were in the tree house together. I remember all of that, but I don't remember that game being implemented. And so if I'm correct that it's not in there, it should have been, because that was such a fun aspect of the book, because everyone's just like tagging each other and it's fun and nostalgic, and I just love this series. So let me know if you have watched any of these and you enjoy them. So those are my feelings on the To All the Boys I Loved Before movies. I love the first one, but I just think that they could have just done a better job. Like, obviously they can't add everything, but those books are just so good that I just wish that some of my favorite scenes had been in the films. You should have saw me yelling about the last movie. I was watching it and I was like, that doesn't happen. What the hell? Why is she going to NYU? She would never go there. I feel like the only instance she would go there is because she really likes the cookies. I forget what they're called. They're like leaven cookies or something like that. And that is my other favorite part of the, like, there was really not a lot of baking at all in the last movie. And that's what I love about the last book, is there's a lot of baking and a lot of family. And we also get to see like more of Lara Jean and Peter's relationship. And that movie just made me sad. I would love for more books in that series. I know Jenny Han is just busy with all of her like film stuff, but please, Jenny, come back to me. I want more books by her. Another one is Perks of Being a Wallflower. I think that's my first ever book to movie adaptation that I watched. I remember reading the book in high school, and I remember just reading it and then watching the movie, and I felt like it just got it right. And I loved it because I was like, oh, that was in the book. That was in the book. We don't really get that nowadays. I think that is like the best one though, honestly. Next is my all-time favorite, which is Paper Towns. That is my favorite book ever, and it just is my favorite. I think that I did read this in high school. I think it's one of the books that I read in high school. I remember looking through like my old pictures and I saw a picture where Paper Towns was in my bag. So, going off of my last episode where I talk about how I became a reader, that is the one book that I remember reading and it'll always be my favorite. And when it became a movie, I was so excited. I went to the theater. It was so fun, like back then, when you could go and watch them. And like John Green's were so fun because I would go, I got posters, I still own the posters that I got, and it was just such a fun time. Like that era was so fun. I remember me and my friend went to see The Fault in Our Stars, and it was called like the Night of Our Stars or something like that, and you got like a bracelet. I still have it. So you got a little bracelet and you also got a poster, and that was so fun. I miss that. I wish that would happen more often. And again, like I think that Love, Simon is like the only time, but I don't even think that I got anything when I went there. I just remember I went and it was like an early release, and you could like, I think you got Oreos or something like that, but that was kind of it. I just wish that that was more like happening more. But I also just recently saw like an article from Netflix saying that it's easier to adapt books now, which I think is awesome. It just shows how far we've come, that a lot of books are getting adapted now. And I just love that so much. When To All the Boys I Loved Before was announced, I was ecstatic. It was the best thing ever. I think that's like the most fun thing about being a reader is like news and just knowing that your favorite books are getting adapted, but also kind of scary at the same time because they could just screw it up so easily. John Green honestly got so lucky. Out of John Green's books that have been adapted, I've only seen Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars, and I think they're both awesome. I just love Paper Towns for nostalgic reasons, but also I just love it. I remember one year for like Booktubeathon or something like that, I was what's his name? What's the character's name? I don't know. I'm gonna remember. I'm not gonna remember. What's his name? I keep wanting to say like Nat, like I know it's Nat Wolf, but what's his name? I say it's my favorite book and I can't even remember what the guy's name is. I'm gonna have to look it up, and that is embarrassing. I feel like it'll come to me. I feel like he just has so many. Quentin. His name is Quentin. I was Quentin for a book. It was like a Booktubeathon cosplay thing. I always hate those. I hate the cosplay. I hate them so much. I hate when there's a cosplay thing because one, I'm trans and it is hard, and I also just am. It's ironic that I do my booktube costume series, but I don't like Halloween. I hate getting dressed up. And so I just hate the cosplay things, but I wanted to do it because I think I was doing like a video challenge every day or something like that. And that's another thing that I could talk about, that I remember I did all of my, I went all out for all of like the video challenge readathons and I never won. And I had done so much. Even though it was still fun, I just still wish I would have been rewarded. But I was Quentin for like a cosplay challenge thing. And I was like him from the movie where he's wearing like a maroon crew neck sweater. Oh my god, I don't know why my brain is like so slow today. Quick outfit change. Just changed into my hoodie real quick because the shirt that I'm wearing is bothering me. So, Paper Towns is my favorite John Green book. It's one of my favorite book-to-movie adaptations, just for nostalgia, but also because it's my favorite book, and I just love it. I'm just not a very critical person. If I watch it and I like it, then I like it. I'm not somebody that's like, oh, well, it depends. Like with To All the Boys I Loved Before, I'm very critical because I'm like, I just want all of my favorite scenes to be on the screen. And I wish the film could be like 3 hours, but Alas, that is not realistic. It can't happen. But I just love the memories associated with the John Green books and them being adapted. I have not seen Looking for Alaska. That's the only thing I've never seen. And I just, I have a video where I said that I was going to watch it and then I just didn't. That is just a pattern in my life, is that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I just don't. And my memory card is done now. So isn't that just great? So I guess I am going to have to figure that out. You know what? We're turning the film off and we're just gonna talk. So let's continue. I also, Looking for Alaska is the only one that I haven't seen. I wanted to watch it and then I didn't. I don't know, maybe I'll watch it. I don't know if it's even still up on Hulu. That's my problem, is that I don't want to have like a million subscriptions to things because one, I don't watch a lot of TV and I don't watch a lot of movies, so what's the point of having it if I don't watch it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's just so many subscription services that it is so hard for me to keep up, and I just wish everything was on one thing. I'm like, I can't just watch everything. But it is fun that a lot of books are getting adapted. One book to movie adaptation that I saw before I even read the book was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and it made me want to read the book. So I went and saw it. I think I went with one of my friends. I can't remember, but I just remember going to the theater, watching it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. And then I went home and I read it because I had it on my Kindle. And I also have a Funko Pop of Miss Peregrine. And so that was my Miss Peregrine phase. And then I never finished the series. I tried to read the second book like 3 times and I just never got around to doing it. Whenever I get like a library hold, it's so hard because I just get distracted. Another favorite is The Hate You Give, and I'm trying to remember if I saw it in theaters or not. I know that I read the book before the movie came out, and I think that I must have seen it in theaters when I was in college because there was like a movie theater down the street from my apartment, and then you could go to like Tuesdays. There was like a deal, so that's like when me and like my roommates would go, but I can't remember if I actually saw it in theaters or not. I really can't remember. But no matter what happened, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was the best book to movie adaptation, and I'm really excited to see On the Come Up, just to see if that holds up. I just hope it's as accurate as The Hate You Give was. I think The Hate You Give is really easy to adapt, so I'm excited to see On the Come Up. And in February, me and my friend are gonna buddy read Concrete Rose. I've seen it on best books of the year lists, and I'm super excited to read it. So those are all of my favorites. I've probably missed some. I probably should have been more prepared, but I feel like that is the bulk of ones that I really have enjoyed. Like I said, I'm not a big movie person or like TV watcher. I don't really watch shows. Like, I watch Queer Eye. That's like the one show that I've ever watched. Let me try and think though if there's anything else. Love, Simon. That's another one. And I went to the theater to watch it for like an early release, and I enjoyed it. I think that was also a really good book to movie adaptation. I hope Becky also gets her other books adapted. I would really like to see The Upside of Unrequited be adapted because that would be really good. I also saw Love, Victor. I saw like the first season and I really enjoy it because it's not a typical story of a kid coming out as gay and his family being fine with it. It's not like Love, Simon at all. But I love the crossover. I have not watched season 2. It's another thing where I was going to watch it and then I just did it. But I think that the first episode of that season kind of triggered me, and I think that's why I didn't watch it again, but I would do it again. What am I saying? I would do it again? No. I would watch it again because I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I probably should watch season 2. I never got around to it. I'm getting distracted because I hear something, and I think it's the snowplow or something. But I think it's actually just our heater. Yeah, I need to watch season 2 of Love, Victor. I watched the first episode, I think, and then I just never got around to finishing it. That's why I don't watch TV, because I just can't finish things. Also, now my next point is, do I like TV or movie? And that's so funny because I just said I don't like either. I don't know. I think I would rather a movie just because a TV series is hard for me to watch. But it depends. It just all depends. I don't really have a preference, but I guess I would say movie's my preference. Haven't watched but 1, 2. I did a trailer reaction to Beartown, and guess what? I never finished it. And that's mainly because it's in Swedish, and I need to focus because I need to know what they're saying, but I also need to watch, and it's a little bit hard. I also want to watch Tiny Pretty Things. I have never read the book, but there's a Read Harder challenge prompt to read a book from a book to movie adaptation you've already watched, and I've kind of watched all of them or read all of them, so there's many that I've already read, so I just decided maybe I'll read Tiny Pretty Things after I watch the adaptation. Now, on to my next point, books I would like to see adapted. I would love to see a lot of books adapted. I'm super excited that On the Come Up is getting adapted because that's such a fun one. I don't really know anything off the top of my head. I feel like I should do a video on this maybe, so let me know if you would be interested in that. That's like the OG booktube days that I used to do stuff like that. But from the top of my head, I would like to see I'll Be the One. That would be cool. I just love reality TV. I would like to see I kind of want to say Icebreaker. I would kind of like to see that, but I don't know. For me, it's kind of hard because I'm like, I want to cherish these books and I don't really want them to be adapted because then I'll be annoyed that they got screwed up. But I would like to see Icebreaker adapted. I think that would be cool. Let me go through my story graph and stuff. I don't have Goodreads on my phone and I feel like I wish that I did. Me, My Dad, and the End of the Rainbow, that would actually be a really cool movie. I would really enjoy that. Where We Go From Here would be a good movie. A Kind of Spark would also be a good one. I think a lot of books would. Off the Record would be a really good one. I actually hope that she gets a film deal, especially because she is a film major. So that would be cool. Last Night at the Telegraph Club, I would be interested to see that because it's gotten a lot of hype. And rightfully so, it's a really good book. But I am surprised to hear that she hasn't gotten one yet. I was looking at lists of things coming out this year as adaptations, and I was surprised. The one thing is, since COVID, a lot of things aren't being adapted or in production. So a lot of productions had stopped because of COVID. So I think that a lot of our release dates are going to be pushed or just not revealed until a later date. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, that's what I should do. That's what I should do for the Read Harder challenge. Read it after I watch the adaptation. I know it just was recently adapted and I think it's on Netflix, so maybe I'll actually do that. I have to remind myself of that. But there are some that are coming out, but my priorities are On the Come Up and The Summer We Turned Pretty. That's going to be on Amazon Prime, so that's fun. And that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else on this topic, but let me know in the comments what your favorite book to movie adaptation is and one book that you would like to see adapted. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. And if you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. And if you're a patron, thank you for voting on today's topic. It was really fun. I liked reminiscing about the past and about my favorite book to movie adaptations and just reminding myself of ones that I still need to watch, and that was a fun time. If you would like to become a patron, you can pledge $1. Like I said, the link is down below. You can have access to our Discord, to our bi-monthly Rainbow Book Club where we read queer books. February's book has already been decided. You also will receive episodes early, so on Sundays you will get a podcast episode instead of Monday, like our public people. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. This has been the worst outro ever. I have done this like 7 times. So thank you for listening, and I will see you next week for our next episode. We have made it a month, and I am very happy. If you're on YouTube, give this a like and subscribe and turn on my post notifications so you don't miss out. And if you're on Amazon, if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can review. Thank you and goodbye. You bump all night. Man, you must have heard it like 1,000 times. Tweaking little bits.